Hello, everyone. This is Doug Davis with Cranby Realty, broker in charge, and here with another session of Ask Doug. And today I have Lindsey Wong with me, who helps us with the property management. And today we are just going to go over, because we get a lot of questions on how we vet prospective renters. What do we do to check out the tenants? How do we get good tenants and not bad tenants? Can we tell ahead of time? Is there any way to successfully do this? So we'll talk about that now. So how do we do it? How do we get a good tenant versus a bad tenant? So what's the process for that?
Sure. Well, of course, we start with showings. So we like to meet people in person. I think you get a good feel for somebody to start. And then, of course, we go through our application process. And with that, we have the prospective renter provide their rental history, which would include past landlord references, and then their employment details, and then employer references, and then there's with that financial information, which we do income verification.
So do you actually call the past landlord or landlords?
Oh, yeah, past landlords. So we require at least an email, a phone number, and we give them a call or reach out and see if we can just, ask them simple questions.
Ask them if they were a good tenant, slow pay,
rent on time. Yeah, those just very basic things that, we require. And then sometimes I would say there are a lot of people, of course, who move to Hawaii that were home owners on the mainland. So they wouldn't necessarily have a landlord reference.
Exceptions to everything.
Correct. And so I think that's, with that, we're able to verify other ways. So that's all right. Employment, personal references as well. So, yeah.
And what else? What else do we do?
Well, in our application process, we have, pre-screening questions, eviction, lawsuits, if you're a smoker, those kinds of things, because they're, a lot of our properties, we don't allow smoking. But with that, we also do a background and credit check. So a screening report that, the tenant pays for, or the prospective renter pays for, to provide that information to us. So we know that they're a serious renter. They want our property, right? But sometimes we need to look a little further. So we have a local program called Ho'okipa, so we can check into that and see if there's any court cases and things like that. So that's also helpful, just another avenue.
So all of those things help to determine quality of the tenant.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly talking to the last landlord, that seems like one of the best ways to, hopefully they're honest.
It is, and you can pick up on whether they're trying not to tell you something, or their voice, or if they really are being genuine. And, and because you meet the person and then you follow up with, past reference, you can kind of put together the character of the prospective renter.
So if someone had a credit score of 500, what would you do on that?
Well, I think each property manager or property management company has a set requirement. So unfortunately, if it is a low credit score, then you're probably going to get
look for the next person.
Yes, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what happens if they have an animal, a cat or a dog?
Oh, sure. So furthermore, like outside of screening our person, if they have an animal, pet, emotional support animal, service animal, we go through a pet screening, and then they provide all of their documents there. And we have a third party go through and make sure that those are verified and they're genuine.
When you say third party, what is that?
So this second program that specifically does animal screening. They go through and check to make sure, you know, this doctor is real and that's a real letter. And, you know, because a lot of things these days are simply made up.
Found on Google or whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, and then just jumping back, we have a computer program for the vetting of the tenants and doing our financials with them as well. Can you speak of that?
Our computer program that does
The
vetting.
application, yeah.
Yeah. So when we take them through that, sorry, are you talking about the income verification?
Yeah, all that, yeah.
Yeah. So again, it's also another program that we're not doing it personally. It's a program that you know, they can go through and make sure that this statement is in fact true, or your income is in fact true, because people can come through and make things up. So we just want to make sure that we have everything verified, and we just don't go, oh, here's a screenshot. You know?
So they have something like that for animals.
They do. Yep. Yeah. Vaccinations, document proof, doctor proof.
What about dog bites?
It is something called, I don't know, it's like a pause. Like they have so many paws. So if it's like a good pet,
Animals got
they do. Yeah.
5 toes. And
Yeah.
no toes.
Sorry, I can't remember what it's called. But but yes, it is. They also do touch on the behavioral aspects of the pet. Yes.
So just to make it clear to everyone, we say animal screening because there's 2 protected classes, and that's service animals like seeing eye dog, or emotional support, letter from a doctor. Those are not pets. There's no security deposit for non-pets. But if you have a pet, like we all used to know, then they can have a deposit. So there's 3 different types of animals that can be screened.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Okay, so I wanted to just summarize that, because a lot of people wonder, well, how do we get a good tenant? How do we get a good pet with the tenant? And that sort of thing. You know, also with the animals, if it's a service or emotional support, you can't say no. You can say no to a pet, but not for the other ones. They're protected class animals.
Well, sorry. Yes, and that is correct. And to touch on that, so a lot of times, you know, if buildings are not pet friendly, they cannot say no to an emotional support animal, which is why it's important to verify, you know, that it's in fact a service animal or an ESA.
Emotional support. Yeah. Very good. Okay, so with that, hope that was enjoyable for you, and we look forward to seeing you next week. And if you have any real estate needs, buying, selling, or property management needs, please give me a call. And thank you, and see you next week.